What's going on? It's your boy Mike from 424 Recording, and in today's video we're making a tier list of every single pedal that I own. So what the hell is a tier list? Well, a tier list is something that originated, I believe, in Japan with video games, and it's a way of organizing characters based on their attributes. What's the best characters to use? What are bad characters? What are ones that you'd never want to use? And it just goes on a ranking scale of A to F, with S being like the god tier. It's like what you would always want to use, like almost like a perfect character, and F being like the bottom of the barrel, something you would never want to use. Let's kick things off with something really easy. The metal zone. Perfect one to start out with. That is just clearly F tier. We don't even need to think about that. In the Trash or Fantastic series, I reviewed the Supra Distortion, and I gotta say it's probably literally the worst pedal I've ever used, so we're just gonna drop that in the E tier. Alright, now let's do something maybe in the middle of the road average, so we get a good barometer of what's going on with this tier list. And for that, we're gonna do the Boss TU3 Chromatic Tuner. I'd say it's a great utilitarian pedal. It does a really well job at tuning. But it takes up space on your pedal board, and all it does is tune. So I'm going to go like a hard or a soft B. Does that make sense? Oh no, let's do like a BC. We could put some in the middle. Do I have any S tier pedals? To answer your question, yeah, it's easy. Right out of the gate, the SansAmp by Tech 21. That's god tier pedal right there. That for me, that puts every other distortion pedal to shame. Once I found it, I ended my tone quest for distortion sounds, and I lived happily ever after. This is the original one too. I think it came out in like the 90s, but it's a sick pedal. One, I think after this video is over, you should just go order one if you're looking for like a 90s indie Nirvana type of distortion sound. So my only boost pedal that I own at this point is the Super Duper by Zvex. Easily A tier. Again, one of my favorite pedals, and it's the best boost pedal I've ever played. Sounds great with my equipment. It actually has two super hard-ons in it, which is another Zvex pedal, and you can kind of cascade them into each other. And it actually sounds really good with the Digitac too, which is just a bonus, added bonus. And I gotta make a video on that actually. That should be a really good one to do. But yeah, Zachary, if you're out there, great pedal. Thank you so much for all that you do, and I really dig that one. The Distortion Plus by MXR, that's easily a B level pedal. It's an amazing distortion. It's a little bit limited in its controls, but it also sounds amazing with bass. And Jay actually modded mine, and it sounds even better with bass. He put some special Latvian diodes in there, and I gotta say, I think it sounds killer. He put a little LED in there for me. I really like this one, so I'm gonna go B tier though. There's definitely some room for improvement with it, and it's also great for bass. So, but the B doesn't stand for bass. The RockTech Distortion. I'm gonna have to go. It's definitely one of the better pedals in the Trash or Fantastic series, but overall, I would say it's a solid D tier. And again, D does not stand for distortion, but I definitely liked it more than the Supra. And of course, the Metal Zone, I mean, it's hands down better than that. So one of my favorite all-time pedals is one that I actually had Jay build me. And a couple of you guys out there have these. It's the SansAmp preamp. Basically a pedal that emulates the 4-track distortion fuzz sound. Waiting for this to get copied by somebody because it's a great pedal. I would say the biggest issue I have with it is that we didn't really make more of them. But Jay really didn't want to. I can't blame the guy. The guy, does what he does. If he doesn't want to do it, cool. If you want one, though, he's definitely the person to email and just badger the hell out of him, because that's probably the only way more of these will ever get made. I would say it definitely has room for improvement. Not so much on the sound side, but I don't know, maybe just design-wise, I think we could do some things to streamline the process of designing it, but it sounds sick. I use it on everything. I'm going to go A, B tier, like middle of the road between A and B, just because I think there's some things on the production side we could have done better, and I would like to see more of these in the world, but Jay's not really interested in building them. So next up, we got the line selector. That's a cool pedal. But again, it's kind of a utilitarian pedal, and it does one thing really well. It's not really like it's not really an effect, but it takes up space on your pedal board. So I would say it's a great pedal, but it's very average in what it does. It does it well, but we're gonna just go C tier on that one. So Keeley sent a few pedals to the channel a while back, and there's 3 right here. There's a hook reverb, the Rotten Apple, and the 30 millisecond double tracker. I think out of the 3, just for my own personal needs, they were gracious enough to include it, the 30 millisecond double tracker. This is a really sick pedal, especially for all you 4-track nerds out there looking to save time bouncing and doing double tracks at the same time. And it has a very robust feature set. It works extremely well, and it sounds really cool. I mean, definitely check out the video I did. I think I did 2 videos on this one about the vocals, and then one, double tracking some acoustic and vocals. And it's really cool. It's really cool, and I feel like it's a very unique pedal in terms of the marketplace. And I gotta say, this one, I think they really knocked it out of the park with. So I'm gonna go A tier on that. I would say, out of the pedals in this video, if you're anything like me, if I didn't own like the SansAmp, the Super Duper, and the 30 millisecond, I would just immediately go out and get those as soon as I could. But it took me the time to find it, so it's kind of a catch-22. So I'm not really like a modulation guy. I kind of just am into clean sounds and distorted sounds, and which makes sense given the spread of like a lot of the pedals I own at this time. But I'm a really big fan of the Japanese 80s Boss stuff, and I gotta say, the DM2 is a really sick pedal. I think by a lot of people's standards, it's a little deprecated in terms of the feature set, but for me, I gotta say this is like probably an A/B tier pedal. I really like it. It's really good for vocal effects, and it's just like a classic analog delay. So the only reverb I own is the hook reverb from Keeley, and this is a really cool reverb pedal. I got to do some more videos on it. It's very useful, especially with 4-tracking and adding just like a little reverb on your tracks if you want to put it through the stereo effects. And for like a digital reverb, it sounds really cool, and it has a lot of features. Like again, like the 30 millisecond. I feel like there's stuff on this pedal that I haven't even explored yet, which is really cool. So I'm almost overwhelmed by the features and the sounds that you can get out of it. I'm gonna go B tier on this one. But I'm also not really familiar with a lot of reverbs, so it's tough for me to say, ones that are better or worse. Or I mean, I guess it's tough to say that in general. I mean, this whole list is subjective, but if you got any reverb pedals to recommend, let me know. But I'm not really familiar with a lot of reverb pedals. So, but I think this one is definitely, by the ones I've tested, and obviously I've had a few that I sold, because I had a bunch of old Boss ones and they were just so digital sounding. This one is really cool because it sounds a lot more analog. Like I don't think you'd even be able to tell the emulation is that good on it. The Blood Drive from Coffin. This is actually one of my favorite pedals. It's actually Jay's, and he modded it, and I wasn't sure which circuit on it he modded. I did this one in Trash or Fantastic as well. I'm gonna go CD on this one. This one's pretty solid, and I mean, the design of it is like busted out for Halloween, but like out of the pedals for Trash or Fantastic, that was definitely probably my favorite. So another one of my favorite pedals is the Bass EQ by Boss, the GE7B, not to be confused with the GEB7. This was like an 80s version of the Boss equalizer. I think they came out in a series of like 5 other pedals. They're all this like brownish color, and there's like a chorus and a parametric EQ, and I don't know, something worth probably collecting if I was a collector. But I would say, I mean, it's an EQ pedal. It's very warm sounding. But I think I'm gonna go like B, C on this one. You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't really use it that often anymore, but it is very useful for like overdriving amps and, I don't know, sculpting your bass sound. I would say the bass EQ and the Distortion Plus are like my two favorite pedals for bass. A pedal that Matt sent the channel, the VT Bass. This is going to be surprising, I think, where I put this one, but I'm going to go D tier. And the reason why, I feel like the SansAmp original, this S tier, God tier, can't live without it pedal that I own, I feel like a lot of the Tech 21 stuff after that is all just like a remix of that original pedal. And I'm just not about like making more stuff for the sake of like, we need a product line, like let's put stuff out. I mean, I'm sure it's a sick pedal. I really like the SansAmp RBI rack unit. I really like the original SansAmp, but I feel like between those two I can get like all the sounds from a lot of the other offerings from Tech 21. So maybe that comes as a surprise, but solid D tier on that one. So right here we got the SansAmp prototype, and I gotta say this one definitely has some secret sauce to it, because the parts Jay used were a little bit different and different flavor than the mass-produced. I think we made 20 of the not mass-produced, but we made about 20 of the other SansAmps after, you know, making the prototype. And this one's always gonna have a special place in my heart because it does exactly what I wanted it to do, and it's an amazing little device. And nobody else will probably ever be able to use it because I'm going to just hold on to it. So I'm going to go, this has got to be like, I'm going A tier on this. Jay really knocked it out of the park. And, you know, because it's basically just like a one-off for me. Another one I'll hold on to forever. Actually, you know what? Let's go AS. We're going to split the difference there. That's definitely like, I don't know, my secret sauce, one of my favorite pedals, and it's a one-off, so it's, you know, very, very cool. So the Rotten Apple is a Big Muff V5 clone, the final pedal of the trio Keeley sent, because they saw that I was making all these videos on these distortion pedals and Trash or Fantastic, and they said, you know what, I think you'd really like this one. And they were correct. I've been meaning to make an episode on Trash or Fantastic about this. I definitely had some reservations about that just because it's a fantastic pedal, you know? So it's kind of like, you know, that series is more of a satirical series that for some reason some people take very seriously. So I'm just going to make a public declaration and say that's coming soon, and definitely within the next month or so. I have the script all ready to go. I would say this, as for like a fuzz, and the only real fuzz that I own, because other stuff is more distortion. I think this is a great fuzz. I think it makes a Big Muff even better. I've had a number of Big Muffs over the years and wound up selling all of them because I could just never get them to work in my setup or maybe for the music I'm making. But this one is great, and it works on chords, and I gotta just make a video about it. I'm gonna go, let's go A, B tier on that. All right, we're down to the final two, both modulation effects. This is the CE2 Japanese Boss Chorus, great pedal. I love it for its simplicity. Mac DeMarco has one, and maybe Kevin Shields does too. It's possible. Anything's possible. So two of my favorite guitar gods cranking the chorus, CE2, and that's going to be clearly. I'm going to go A/B on that one too, because I've used I've used the Analog Man chorus, and I think that's probably the S tier chorus. But I sold it at one point. I'm not really sure why. So, but I know, like, out of the two chorus pedals I've had, like, that one is really fucking good. And this one is really good. And I just like the simplicity of it. And I just like the simplicity of the Boss stuff. So I saw Grizzly Bear up in Kingston, New York. And Daniel, the guitar player, I noticed that he had a Pog. He also has a Silvertone 1448. And he also owns, I think, a 70s Vibrochamp, and just like this guy. So I said, well, I mean, if I have two out of the three devices that Daniel Rawson seems to enjoy, and we both like the Silvertone and the Vibrochamp, chances are I may like this one. So I've been looking for something to spice up my solos, and you can hear this all over Just a Trick. And also, I guess more so, yeah, Just a Trick. I don't know why I was just blanking on that. I think I was thinking of Not So Alamo, but yeah, this is all over Just a Trick, and I was trying to make this my signature solo sound. It doesn't always track the best, but I guess it depends what you put on it. I'm gonna go B tier on this one, if we can fit it in there.